This person actually asked us to be, if she could be anonymous, right? So I think it kind of makes it a little bit more mysterious.
Given that this story has something to do with my family, it would be best for my colleagues who are not close to me to not know about this as well. And she's bringing air zam-zam into the room to like wipe her face with it, ask her to like have a sip and stuff like that. And then she said like, mak adik takut, tadi adik pitandas, lepas tu dia ada dekat situ. I have a friend who mentioned that they see something following me when they saw a picture of me. The thing looks exactly like me, but just all black. So same height, same body frame.
Ooh, that's creepy.
There was this sucker in your family, passed down generations and stuff like that. Were you more scared or were you kind of more curious about this?
I was definitely way more scared than anything.